Welcome to the Bend Like Bamboo podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Campbell, kinesiologist, resilience coach, and author who knows what it feels like when your body betrays you or burnout nearly breaks you. This podcast is for those healing from chronic conditions and autoimmune disease, and also for leaders navigating burnout and overwhelm. You're about to hear real stories of transformation, the messy middle, the breakthrough moments, the science, and practical tools that actually work. Because resilience isn't about being unbreakable, it's about learning to bend without breaking. Let's dive in. I'm so excited to welcome back a very special guest to the Bend Like Bamboo podcast, Colleen Callander. Colleen, it's wonderful to have you here again. And for those who didn't catch Colleen's first episode, let me tell you why her story is so inspiring. Colleen left school at just 16 years old and started on the shop floor of a retail store. And that summer job became the foundation of a 30-year retail career that saw her rise to become one of Australia's most influential female CEOs, leading two of the country's most iconic fashion brands, Sportsgirl and Sussan, for over a decade. But what makes Colleen truly remarkable isn't just her impressive career, it's her leadership philosophy. She defines leadership as one life impacting another in a positive way. And she believes that you don't need a title to do that. Since we last spoke a few years ago, so much has happened, and Colleen is an award winning CEO, a best selling author, and the founder of Mentor Me Women, a platform making mentoring accessible and affordable to women of all ages and all walks of life. She's mentored executives, mums, startup founders, students, young women starting their careers, senior leaders, and teachers. Colleen wrote Leader by Design, sharing her journey from the shop floor to the CEO office, and now has a brand new book launching in January 2026 called The Power of Confidence. Rewrite your story, overcome self-doubt, and step into your power. And what I love about this book, it's not just the theory. It includes a 30-day confidence transformation, a practical day-by-day journey with reflections, action steps, and affirmations to help you build confidence from the inside out. Beyond her business achievements, Colleen is also an ambassador for the Children's Cancer Institute and a Starlight Advisory Board member. But what she considers her most important role is being wife to Nick, mother to Jake, Trent, and Macy, and showing women everywhere that you can lead with kindness, humility, self awareness, and put people at the heart of everything that you do. I love everything that you stand for, Colleen. Thank you so much, and welcome back on the Bend Like Bamboo podcast. Hello, Colleen Callander. Welcome back to the Bend Like Bamboo podcast. This is your second time here.
Oh, hi there. Thank you so much for having me back. It's just great to be back here with you and see your gorgeous face again.
Oh, thank you. I love your energy. I love everything that you're about. I'm so excited about your new book, and there's just so much to catch up on. So let's just do it. Let's just do it. So, let's dive in because last time you were here, we touched on your incredible journey, and I'm thrilled to have you back because you left school at 16 and you started on the shop floor, and that summer job became a 30-year retail career that led you to become a CEO of two of Australia's most iconic fashion brands. But I imagine there were moments along the journey where you doubted yourself, where being the youngest or not having traditional qualifications might have made you question whether you belonged. But can you just take us back to that pivotal moment where you realized your path? And even though it looked different to everybody else's, what was your superpower? And what would you say to someone right now if they felt like they didn't have the right background or credentials to step into leadership?
Thank you for that great question. And gosh, when you say 16, I was 16 when I finished school and went on a very different path to all of my friends, and in fact, probably a very different path to what everyone else was doing at that time. And to be
Yeah.
really honest, a different path to where I thought I would go because, my parents had never been able to have an education themselves. And My mum finished school at 13 and my dad at 14, and they'd worked very, very hard to put myself and my brother and my younger sister through school. It was something they were very, very proud of. And so for me to change that direction after they'd worked so hard, and for me to come home after I'd completed this summer job at the age of 16 at my local Just Jeans store and tell them how much I love fashion retail and I wasn't going back to school to finish my final year of year 12. I was walking into this exciting world of retail. The look on their face, Amanda, was just
Yeah.
absolutely gobsmacked, right? As you can imagine. And I'll never forget that moment. And the words my father said, and these words have become my mantra for life, was work hard, be passionate, love what you do, and never give up. And
Yeah.
they really are the words I think about every day still today. This is close to 40 years on. I'm just about to turn 55, and this was at the age of 16. And it feels like those words were said to me yesterday because I have recite them every day of my life. So I was very fortunate for those words and to take those through. But like as you said, it was a very different path, but I was exceptionally passionate about retail and I was
Yeah.
really passionate about people. And I think that's really my secret sauce, is being just so connected with people, loving people, wanting to really create environments where people thrive and shine. And that was certainly, what I tried to do from those early days, really realizing that people were my greatest asset
Yeah.
right up to becoming a CEO of two iconic fashion brands, which, when I joined Sportsgirl in 1999, I really didn't think I'd spend 20 years of my career there, and 13 of those years as CEO. But it was such an incredible journey with incredible people along the way. And it just taught me so much.
It's such, it speaks to the company that they were, and their leadership qualities where they empowered you to be able to step out of, because the retail versus their head office, that's a big transition. And for them to see your talent, which is so obvious, but it's not always recognized. And it just, I think it really shows merit to Sportsgirl and Suzanne that they did recognize yours.
I was really lucky that I had an incredible sort of leader that I was sort of able to be mentored by. And she was my area manager actually when I was in those first early days of my career. And I remember when she offered me my first managerial job, and I was only 18. And this sort of comes back to a bit of your question. I'm 18 and I get offered this managerial job. And the first thing I told myself was, I'm not good enough. I'm not old enough. People are better than me, and created all these stories in my head. And, that inner critic that we all have. And the words that she said to me, her name was Vivian. The words she said to me was, I believe in you, and now you need to believe in yourself.
Oh,
That was a real turning point for me because for
yeah.
someone to say to me, I believe in you, that really allowed me to think about something very different in what she was saying. And for me, it wasn't, I just believe in you and fluffy words. It was, I believe in you. I'm going to be here to support you. I will pick you up when you fall over. That's really what she meant. And those words, as I said, really changed my life. And it has certainly been something that I've tried to take through my journey,
Mm.
is believing in other people, because often we just need that one person to believe in us before we start believing in ourselves.
Yeah, hence why you created Mentor Me. I can totally see that I've had little moments like that too, where I've had, when I was really young, I used to work in fashion, in the head office helping designers and in wholesale for Sabatini and Chaton Couture. And I remember my first job going from the shop floor into the back office, and I did the same thing. I was like, no, I can't do that. I'm not good enough. I don't know anything about that. And I had a really amazing recruiter well, she was working for the business, and she said, yes, you can. And I will
Mm.
teach you everything that you need to know. I don't accept your no. You have to say yes to this job. And it changes your life, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I think the other message too in that, which I love, is, for women, we do self-sabotage and we do play small and we do hold ourselves back. And what you just said there is just say yes. what's the worst thing that can happen? We say no and then think about the what the real consequences may be, but let's just say yes. I talk about confidence as the willingness to try, because when we try something new, we succeed or fail or somewhere in between. There's nothing else that can really happen, right? But when
Yeah.
we say yes, what we're doing is opening the doors to possibilities.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what we all want at the end of the day, don't we? We can suffer in different ways. The pressure can be about avoiding and then not getting anywhere, or pushing ourselves, but actually, experiencing and achieving so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really starts, people talk about confidence and leadership and resilience and all of those things, but at the end of the day, everything starts with us. Everything starts internally with us, the way we see ourselves, the way we speak to ourselves, the way we treat ourselves. And so, I always say, let's not look anywhere else for external validation and for people to lift us up and build us up. Let's
Yeah.
actually look
Yeah.
internally and build our own set of confidence skills that allows us to have that willingness to try and change our story and say yes.
Oh, I love that you just said that, because, yeah, it's great having a mentor, but it can't just be external validation. It has to be built from the inside out.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's what your new book is all about.
It is. I'm super excited about my new book. There it is there, The Power of Confidence.
Love it.
And I really wrote, this is my third book. But when I wrote my first book, there was a chapter in there called The Power of Confidence. And it always held this really, really special place for me. And I always knew I wanted to turn that into a book. And
Yeah.
a big part of that has been my journey. So, I wrote my book last year, but it's not a book about last year. It's a book about my life journey, my ups, my downs, my fallovers, my picking myself back up. And it really is about building confidence. And for me, in my career journey and my life journey, I've worked with thousands of women and, women that are really on the external view of things confident. They're beautiful, they're intelligent, they're experienced, but they second guess themselves. They sell themselves short. They self-sabotage. They have self-doubt. And I've watched this play out for decades. And so for me, this book really is about changing the story, rewriting your story, overcoming self doubt, and really stepping into the power that is already within
Mm.
you. We have everything we need already inside us. We just need to unlock it. We just need to
Yeah.
build that confidence muscle. And what I love about this book, Amanda, is that it's not just a book you read and put away. There's actually a 30-day transformation in there. So every single day, the reader can do something to build on that confidence because often we think in life with everything, I've got to make big sweeping changes to have, a good outcome. And I talk about small actions, big outcomes. So it's the little things that we do every
Mm.
day. It's the rituals we build in. It's the habits we change. It's the self-talk that we address. It's
Yeah.
the little things that we can do every day that actually build that confidence. So I'm
Mm.
just so excited about this book. And it is one of Wiley's lead books for International Women's Day. So that makes me feel
Oh, that's
super, super
great.
duper proud because, women in leadership and leading in their own lives is something that I've dedicated most of my life to. So to see it come alive in this way is really, really joyful for me.
Oh, it's so you, the concept, the topic, the color, it is just the most authentic aspect of you now expressed. And I think over one's career, we can, explore what that is. And we always come back and return to self. And this is what this is for you. And I'm so excited for you.
Thank you so much. I really love it. I'm really proud of this book.
Yes. And then after the 30 days and, going through that journey of transformation in your book, what do you think, what can someone expect from after going through that? What do you think would change for them?
It's so much will change. In fact, I think this book will be life changing for people. I
Yeah.
talk about confidence as a muscle, right? And the more you use that muscle, the stronger it becomes. But you need the tools, the practical tips, and the know how to build that on a consistent basis.
Yes.
And, particularly women, we often put ourselves at the bottom of the rung. We're so busy all the time. Everyone else is more important, particularly mums, working mums. So this book is really about saying you are the most important person in the world And the more you invest in yourself, the more you work on your confidence, the stronger it becomes. I think about it like going to the gym. You know, we can't go to the gym once and think, oh, I'm done. I never have to go back again. Have a look at me. I'm ripped. You know, I'm flexible. I'm ripped. I'm exactly how I want to be. You have to keep going. You have to be consistent and intentional about going every day and working on whatever it is you might be working on. That's how
Yeah,
you build real strength. This is how
absolutely.
you build real confidence by working on yourself every day.
Yeah, because there's a thing in Chinese medicine when I'm working with my clients is it's beautiful to acquire new awareness and knowledge, but it's also about integrating that knowledge into a new way of being. And that's why I love how you've written this book where it's about the theory, but it's then there's step by step 30-day transformation. What a great idea.
Yeah, and it's easy. You know, it's something you can do every morning. It's some things can take a few minutes, some things might take a bit longer.
Yep.
Um, it's really, really practical and easy. And I think that's the beauty. When we make life too hard, we do it for a day or two and then throw it in the bin, right? So
Yeah.
a bit like New Year's resolutions, you know, not many of them last, and I'm not a big fan of them. So you know, this is something that is lasting and life changing if you want to put in the work.
Yeah, you can tell when you're in the presence of someone that is expressing a performative type of confidence versus
Mm.
someone who really, really is confident. And that's how I felt when I was in your company, even meeting through friends of friends, just walking along the beach, down by the sea. You were just so approachable, you know, obviously knowing how much you've achieved, you know, once I realized who you were, I was like, oh my God. But then you were just so lovely to me and you didn't make me feel that way at all. You were just girl next door. We could talk about anything and that's why I love you.
Oh, well, that was just such a beautiful meeting and has led us on many years of conversations and catch
Yeah.
ups here and there and podcasts, right? And
Yeah.
the feelings absolutely mutual. And I always think, Amanda, when I meet people, it's never about your title, your role, your status, that just doesn't come into it for me. I love meeting like-minded, passionate women who
Yeah.
are really authentic. And you know, when we met, we just connected very much on that level, and it was a beautiful meeting of two women, and it's something that has grown and got stronger over the years. So I feel very blessed to have you in my life.
Oh, me too. Thank you for all the cups of teas and chats. I have really appreciated your advice on many different chapters of my life. And yeah, I also, you know, thankfully got to experience the Mentor Me program that you offer for women. And I'd love to talk about that next.
Great.
So you created this amazing platform that makes mentoring it's accessible and affordable to women of all ages and all walks of life, from executives to mums to students to senior leaders. So what inspired you to make accessibility such a core part of this mission? What have you learned from mentoring such diverse women? And what are women across all these different stages of life struggling with the most, do you think?
Mm. Mentor Me Women was a really interesting one because it started in COVID, and it was one of those things that just kind of came out of the blue, out of nowhere, really. It was lockdown, and we know in Victoria there was a lot of lockdown time, and you know women were really struggling. I mean, everyone was struggling, right? But you know,
Yeah.
women were really struggling.
Yeah.
Um, so I had all of these calls, and some women I knew, some women I'd never met in my life. I was getting emails, Instagram DMs, really saying, "What can I do? I'm really not coping well in this situation." And so I decided to start Mentor Me Women because I didn't have the time to do as many one-on-ones. You know, we only have X amount of hours in the day. So I started Mentor Me Women, and as you said, my real mission was to make mentoring affordable and accessible to all women because most women don't know where to go to find mentors or coaches, and
Oh,
often they're very, very expensive, right? So I thought about for me during my life as a CEO and all the women that had worked for me, what were the key things that I thought were the real recipes for success or challenges? And so I broke it up into four parts, which is the power of self, the power of leadership, the power of confidence, and the power of values and purpose. So I found what I thought were the really, really important fundamentals that I felt every single woman needed in their own lives to be
yeah.
able to live, lead, and love in a different way. And So, Mentor Me Women started. It's been a huge success. Hundreds and hundreds of women have been through the program. And again,
Yeah.
it's a really practical, it's 4 1 hour sessions. Because again, we don't have 3 weeks to go away and do a course, most
Yeah.
of us. So, it's 4 1 hour sessions every week. So, there's beautiful momentum. And it
Yeah.
really is a space where women can come together, do the work on themselves, but also share with each other. It's this really beautiful community.
Yeah, that's what I loved about it is, you're surrounded by a beautiful, intimate circle of some pretty exceptional women, and you get to hear their values, what their purpose, you're defining all of this together, what your purpose is. Sometimes we need to redefine our values, and that's what I was going through at that time when I went through the program is I needed to come back and reestablish. I dug out the notes of when I did the course and I recognized my values were inspiration, achievement, authenticity, my health, and to have fun and family. Something I hadn't focused on for a long time because I've been a workaholic for so long and obsessed with achieving. And, I really got so much about out of your program. And it was funny because then in the leadership section, you asked a question 3 years from now, what would you regret if you didn't have the courage to action this today? And I
Mhm.
wrote, having a family or finding the love of my life, buying a house and investing in my future and finances, and going at it with all I've got with Bend Like Bamboo. And they're the three things that I've finally feel like I'm there and I'm doing that. And your program really helped me to define that that's actually what was important to me.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Both of those things, like the values section, it's just so wonderful that you're sitting there today. It's probably 3 years on maybe since you did the Mentor Me Women
Yeah,
program, and you have your values sitting there. And what values do is give you clarity in all of your decision making in your life. So, and we define this in Mentor Me Women. I say if you make decisions in line with your values, you are going to have great clarity and confidence because
yeah,
values are the things that we deem most important in the way we live, work, and love again. So it's so important that we live by those values. And when you talk about, what you sort of thought you would wanted to do that you didn't want to regret in 3 years, one, you put it out to the universe, which is fabulous. But
yeah,
two, you then stepped into intentional behaviors every day. And I think that's the big thing is sometimes as I said, we have it all in us. We just sometimes need to step outside of our comfort zone a little bit and do something like this, but also take the time to
mm,
look inwards and ask ourselves, what do I really want?
yeah,
And a lot of women forget to do that. We are just on this treadmill of life all the time. We're so busy. So we need to stop and ask ourselves, what's important? What do I really want for my life? What makes me happy? What is my purpose? We need to fill up our own tanks. And the only way we can do that is by asking ourselves questions and then start to live intentionally.
definitely. And revisiting it through all the different cycles that we go through.
That's so great. I'm so happy. That just makes me just so joyful when I hear that, the program has made a difference to you and your life. And, I always say no matter what I do, if it's one person that can make a difference in their life and change the way they really live and lead and think about themselves and particularly their confidence, then, my job is done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's talk about resilience because this is, the topic of my podcast and what I'd love to ask my guests about the most. Um, and, if we think about bending like bamboo without breaking, I think there's such a powerful connection between resilience and confidence.
Mhm.
And you've navigated a 30-year career through challenges, built a business, raised 3 kids, and you've talked openly about burnout yourself. And looking back on those moments when life was bending you, or even when the pressure was intense, what do you think what did confidence play as a role in your resilience? And how did you learn to distinguish between the voices telling you to push harder and the wisdom telling you it was time to more pause and redesign your life?
Mm, I love this. And I love your, bend like bamboo. It doesn't break us, it shapes us. And we need those moments in life. If life was smooth sailing and everything was great, we'd never be growing or learning. So, I mean, resilience, when I think about resilience and confidence and leadership, again, it all starts with self, it all starts with us. And a lot of what happens in life is built through our experiences, our successes, our failures, our fears, our setbacks, our wins, our achievements, resilience, right? So, and resilience for me, I think, is exactly the same. I don't personally believe you can teach anyone to be resilient. I think resilience is something you learn as you go through life and experience new things.
Mm,
Definitely, there's a really important conversation about it. And
yeah.
you know, for me, my big resilient moment or building resilience was my experience with burnout. And burnout, I talked today about it, and it really was a big part of my gift of life. You know, it was a gift I didn't realize I needed at the time, but I did, because burnout made me slow down. It made me reassess my life. It made me set boundaries. It really allowed me to think about me as the asset versus me as serving everybody else, because at the end of the day, we have to serve ourselves before we serve anyone else. We can only be good to other people when we're good to ourselves first. And that doesn't
Yeah.
matter in what area of our lives, it's in every area of our lives. So for me, resilience was really built through that burnout moment. And, you know, I was 36, I had an incredible career, I had three young children, but I didn't have an off button. I hadn't built the mechanisms into my life to allow me to thrive at a high performing level without burning out. So it's something I'm very, very passionate about today and talking to women about, is what are the tips and tools and things that we need to build into our lives to make sure that we don't get on that burnout train, because it's not a fun place to be. And
No.
I really do think that that also falls in line with confidence. So
Yeah.
they all intertwine. This is the thing, right? This is why we have to be really working on ourselves all the time, because all of these things intertwine, and the more we work on them, the stronger each one of them become. And you know, it's kind of like foundations, right? I talk about foundations of your house. If you don't build strong foundations of your house, the house isn't going to be standing for too long. Cracks will appear, it will fall over, right? And
Yeah.
as humans, we're exactly the same. If we don't build these solid foundations for ourselves, and resilience is one that we're learning as we go along through the journey of life, and confidence, then we will really struggle when tough situations come our way.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree that it's entwined, because there's one set of confidence that pushes us to give it a go and get out of our comfort zone, and then we just want to take the world on, and we want to see what's possible and what we're capable of. But then there's like more of a soft, more feminine receiving confidence that we learn once we go, okay, now I need to balance all of that. And, it's not all about output. What does input even mean? And it takes, you know, yeah, confidence and self-worth to make those changes, because we're not taught that in our generation. We talk about it so much now. There's so much information and beautiful podcasts where we're more aware of these topics. But my mum, my grandma, I don't think they were talking about it.
No, they weren't. They weren't talking about values or leadership or resilience or confidence or self-sabotage or any of those things, you know.
Yeah.
I do think the beauty of this and the beauty of these conversations that you're creating at Ben Like Bamboo is that we can have these conversations today. And if we can help one person, then as I said, our job is done. So I think it's really fantastic. And I think women have to move past the fact that, you know, things like self-care is selfish. It's the story I told myself for so long. You know, if you're doing something for yourself, then you're not caring for someone else. You're not caring for your family, your team, your husband, whoever it might be. So
Yeah,
all of these things, self-care, boundaries, resilience, we're talking about them today. And the more we talk about them, the more we're supporting not only this generation, but the next generation to think and live differently.
definitely. Definitely. Oh, I love it, Colleen. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. This is so great. And what's next for you now that you've got this book out? You've written a few books, and I know you've got Mentor Me. You've got so many wonderful roles on boards, and yeah, you've got so much. But what's next for you this year for 2026?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this year, but I'm always excited about the year. Every year's a new year, and every year brings new opportunities. And I am very excited. I'm super excited about sharing my book, because, as I said, if we can, you know, if I can change one person's mindset, one person's way they speak to themselves, one person's inner critic that self-sabotages them, then, you know, that's really changing the way people can live their lives. So I think the book is really fabulous. And, you know, it's out now. It's in all good bookstores. It's in all of the airports, which is fabulous. And it's
Oh,
online.
that's great.
And I've had so much great feedback already. So that's a big part of my year, and
Yeah.
being keynote speaking around that book and really making a positive impact. And of course, Mentor Me Women, I'll do a couple of programs this year. The next one's in March. And the board roles, I love that because I'm meeting and talking to different people all the time. So I'm really excited. I'm also going to do a bit of travel this year. I'll take a month off mid-year, which I did last year. I took a month off last year and went to Spain and Italy and Monaco and France, which was lovely. I'll do the same
Awesome.
this year. I'm going to take a month off and go to Italy, which is where my father's from. So I'm very excited to do that with my husband and I. So,
Oh,
travel for me and experiences. We can talk about all the achievements we're going to do this year.
yeah.
We're gonna write books and we're gonna do programs and we're gonna
Yeah.
do keynotes and we're going to. But for me, I turned 55 this year, so I'm super proud of that as well. And I really want to make this year one that's really special. And
Yeah.
that's also about not just working hard and ticking boxes.
Yeah.
Achievement's one of my values. So when you're an achievement junkie, you just like to keep ticking boxes. But for me this year, you're the same, I know. But for
Yeah.
me this year, I want to make sure that I'm still ticking those boxes because that's how we operate, right? But I also want to tick other boxes, which is connection and family and friends and health and well-being and all the things that are super important to me. Because that's really how we function at our best is when we have all of those other things that are working beautifully
Oh.
for us.
Oh, I've got tears you saying that. That's so beautiful. I so agree. And thank you for helping me to build that in my life over the last few years. Speaking achiever to achiever,
Yes.
I wanted it so desperately, but I just didn't know how to let that in. And I got there in the end and got married literally just at the end of last year and couldn't be happier. And I'm so glad you said that because you remind me that yeah, this year is not just about all the things that we want to achieve. It's also about, yeah, reconnecting within our relationships and within ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm,
You had a fabulous year, and that was just the beginning. This year is going to be
mm.
amazing for you.
Thank you, Colleen. And for you, I'm going to put all your details in the show notes. If you want to find Colleen Callandar's information and her book, her website is colleencallender.com.au. Thank you, Colleen. It's just so great chatting with you again.
So wonderful to chat as always. Sending you so much love. Mwah.
Mwah. And to you. Thanks for listening to the Bend Like Bamboo podcast. If this conversation resonated, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're ready to go deeper, whether you're managing chronic symptoms, leading through burnout, or seeking guidance and community, I'd love to welcome you into the Bend Like Bamboo family. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'm here to support you wherever you are right now. Book a clarity chat with me and let's just talk about what's happening in your body, your work, and your life. All the links to join our community and also how to get in touch with our guests are in the show notes. Remember, with a flexible mindset, we can adapt, transform our story, and reimagine what's possible. I'll see you next time.